The chamber of the Concordance was a cathedral of glass and starlight, a running on thrones orbiting a miniature sun. Ancient species watched from their perches, wings folded, tendrils coil, eyes like dying stars, and in the center of it all stood the human delegation. Small, soft-skinned, unarmed. Then Ambassador Mara Kincaid stood alone on the obsidian dais, her hands folded behind her back, no ceremonial armor, no glowing sigils of rank, no Sekek halo, just a woman in a dark coat, the blue and white crest of earth stitched at her collar. A ripple of laughter rolled through the chamber, and the Threxian Primarch leaned forward, chitinous limbs clicking together. Is this truly the species that petitions for equal stand? And he hissed. They cannot even breathe the air without filters. Their warships are antiques, laying down their colony with single spiral arm like parasites on a diaphamor ladder. The Concordance had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 cycles. They had crushed empires older than human civilization itself. They had watched stars be born, extinguished worlds with bureaucratic indifference. The human delegation had arrived asking for revised trade routes, protection for frontier colonies, and recognition as a sovereign power. They were answered with ridicule. Your people are clever animals, purred the early and radiant, or golden wings catching the starlight. But clever animals do not sit among gods. Ambassador Kincaid did not flinch. The ladder rose louder, and somewhere beyond the two transparent walls, a blue planet turned to silence. Humanity had learned early how to survive among giants. When they first reached the stars, their ships were slow, their weapons crude, their colonies were burned by pirate fleets, their diplomats were ignored, their warnings were dismissed. So they adapt, they study alien psychology, they learn the language of fear and pride, they watch how empires rose and how they rotted from within. They learned that the loudest powers were often the most fragile. They smiled, they bowed, they signed treaties they never trusted. And in the shadows, humanity built hidden shipyards bloom in the darkness between stars. Fleets were assembled without fanfare, masked by gravitational cloaks. Scientists pursued technologies the Concordance had banned and destabilizing. A human gent wars that spanned millennia. Human engineers learned to turn scarcity into strength. Human strategists learned amongst the weight, Paige learned prayer. The galaxy saw a species of traders and negotiators. They did not see the war machine sleeping beneath the skin. Not until the Concordance crossed a line it didn't believe existed. In the frontier colony of New Carthage was a footnote in Concrecorn's mining world. 3 million souls, barely worth a patrol. When Threxian raiders descended unexpected, no resistance. Orbital platforms fell in minutes. Cities burned under kinetic bombardment. An emergency signal screamed into the void, calls that had unanswered through bureaucratic channels. The Concordance Council debated sanctions. Humanity sent ships. By the time the Count finished its third session on proper responses, New Carthage gone, its oceans balled into vapor, its sky was a funeral pyre. The human delegation returned to the chamber. Ambassador Kincaid's face was pale, her voice did not tremble. You sanctioned the destruction of a sovereign human world. That the Primarch shrugged his armored shoulders, and no, we merely did not find it worth intervening. Such losses are educational. To the Aurelian regent smiled gently. You must understand, Ambassador, your species occupies volatile territory. Loss is the price of ambition. Failed. Silence failed. Then, in that case, she said, humanity has learned its lesson. Of the chamber's miniature sun dimmed, the human envoy tapped the control on her wrist. The chamber's star map flickered and changed. Across the galaxy, points of light ignited hundreds, thousands. Hidden fleets decloaked from the void. Human warships from the dark between systems like predators lifting their heads from tall grass. The Concordance delegates recoiled. This is impossible. The Primarch snarled. Your shipyards are monitored. Your fleet registries. We're the ones we wanted you to see, Kincaid replied. And the hologram zoomed in on a single formation, a wall of human dreadnoughts encircling Threxian space. Their weapons glowed with contained singularities. Space itself bent around their hulls. Aurelian wings fluttered in panic. This violates every treaty. Kincaid's eyes were steel. We are ending those treaties, and her voice carried through the chamber, cold and final. Effective immediately, humanity withdraws from the Concordance. Your protections are revoked. Your trade privileges are severed. Your borders are suggestions. The miniature sun went dark. In the sudden blackness, the Concordance realized something ancient and terrible. The quiet species had never been weak. It had been way the galaxy burned. Human fleets struck with surgical precision. They did not glass worlds. They did not slaughter civilians. They dismantled infrastructure, crippled shipyards, isolated military installations, and erased them from existence. Threxian armadas rushed to meet them and vanished into storms of fullness. Human weapons bent physics like wire. Their ships moved through hyperspace without lanes, appearing inside fortified systems like ghosts with guns. But the Concordance called emergency summits. None of their fleets could match a human's coordination. None of their commanders could predict their strategies. Humanity fought like a single mind across thousands of light years. And where humans passed, they left something more terrifying than destruction. In choice, worlds under Concordance rule saw human ships appear above their sky and withdraw no bombs, no ultimatums, Only a message you are free to choose who rules you. Rebellions ignited like supernovas. The Concordance's ancient order cracked, its vassal states defected, its allies fled. Its enemies rose from centuries of fear, and at the center of the storm stood Earth. The convened one chamber to all time. The thrones were empty, many species had fled. Others lay in ruins. The Threxian Primarch sat alone, his armor scorched, his mandibles trembling. The Aurelian regent's golden wings were torn, drifting like dying stars. And Ambassador Arcade stood before them again. You could have chosen cooperation, he said quietly. We asked for respect. We asked for protection for our people. You laughed. The Primarch bows massive head. What misjudged you? A Kincaid nodded once. Yes, you did. Outside the chamber, inhuman fleets waited, not in siege formation, but in silence. His voice broke. What do you want from us? The Kincaid turned toward the stars. No thing, she said. That's the point. There was she looked back for the first time, and the first sorrow in her eyes. We will not rule you. We will not replace you. We will leave you to face the galaxy. You doors open. The human delegation walked out, and the ancient powers us at the cliff alone with the echoes of their own laughter. Cineve, TOA, TA star, T star AM in the years that followed. And the galaxy rewrote its maps, and new alliances formed. The Concordance became a cautionary tale whispered in academies and war colleges. Humanity did not conquer it. It built networks of defense, trade, and mutual aid. It taught species how to protect themselves. But offered technology freely. Those chose peace. B2 came and showed a symbol not of domination, but of a truth the galaxy had forgotten, that the smallest voice in the room might belong to the sharpest blade in the dark. On the ruins of New Carthage, humans planted a monument. No victor, but to their dead names, etched in a stone, oceans returning, cities rising again from ash, and far away, in shattered halls of ancient power, alien survivors told the young a story about the species they had mocked, about the day ladder turned to fear, but about the quiet people who carried storms inside them. The Hall of Occur drifted the heart of the galaxy, a vast amphitheater of light and gravity where civilizations were weighed like coins on a scale over the memory. Columns of living crystal spired in the dark, each etched with the victories of ancient empires. Above, a false sky shimmered with constellations, Harshans harvested from conquered systems. This was where futures were decided, and today was where humanity was judged. The human delegation stood alone at the center of the chamber. No war banners, no fleet in orbit, no visible weapons. Just three figures on a platform of cold black stone. Ambassador Larvance flanked by two aides in simple diplomatic uniform. They were small against the vastness of the court. Fragile cellets beneath the towering thrones of galactic powers. A murmur passed through the assembly, then louder. It began as a low ripple from the outer circles of the court, a vibration in the air, a sound that grew teeth as it spread, echoed between the pillars of crystal. Some delegates did not even bother to hide their amusements, leaned forward, others glinting with curiosity, like predators studying a new species of prey. The voice that broke the noise belonged to the magistrate of the Creth Dominion, a towering figure of plated obsidian and burning eyes. These, he said, the word dripping with contempt, the so-called humans, a gesture of his clawed hand brought up projection archival footage of early human spacecraft, slow, clumsy, their hulls patched and scarred, their engines coughing fire like dying beasts. The court erupted again. Look at them. Purred the seraphim emissary, wings of pale light folding elegantly behind her. They reached the stars with scavenged technology and desperation. It is almost endearing. Another delegate clicked their mandibles in mock sympathy. They asked for recognition as a sovereign stellar power. Yet they cannot even defend their own trade lanes without begging for escorts. The latter turned crueler. Tell me, little humans, the Crith magistrate rumbled, leaning forward till his shadow swallowed the platform. Did you truly believe you belonged here? Ambassador Vance did not answer at first. Her eyes moved across the chamber, across the ancient beings who had ruled the void since before Earth had named its oceans, across the banners of empires built on extinction and conquest, across the symbols of power humanity had been told to admire and fear. She felt the weight of every human world behind her, every colony scraped from Hoss to rock, every ship lost to pirates the court had chosen not to stop, every treaty signed by smiling aliens who had never intended to honor them. And the court waited. The Crith magistrate's voice dropped into a mockery of patience. Speak, child of dust. Entertain us with your pleas. A final wave of laughter rolled through the hall, and in that moment something in ancient humanity stirred. Ambassador Vance raised her head. Her voice was calm, not loud, not angry. We did not come to beg, and the court quieted slightly, amusement sharpening in the interest. The seraphim emissary tilted her head. Then why come at all? Vance's gaze did not waver. To inform you, a ripple of confusion passed through the chamber. The Crith magistrate barked a harsh sound that might once have been form us. You stand before the court of 1,000 stars. You exist because we allow you to exist. Vance nodded slowly. So that is what you believe. She tapped the control at her wrist. The false sky above them dimmed, the constellations dissolved into black. In their place, a single point of blue light appeared. Earth. Then another. Human colonies scattered far beyond the borders the court believed humanity occupied. Gasps rippled through the assembly. These charts are restricted, the magistrate growled. Your people do not possess access to. We possess access to many things you assume we do not, Vance said quietly. The projection shifted. Hidden shipyards bloomed into view in the dark between systems. Fleets without registry codes. Vessels with silhouettes did not match any known human design. Weapon signatures the court's sensors could not classify. The latter was gone now. In its place for knees. You hid this from us, the Seraphal emissary whispered. Vance inclined her head. Wes. The Krith magistrate rose from his throne. The chamber's gravity of his movement. You dare deceive the court, you will be sanctioned. Isolated. Crushed. But for the first time, Man of Steel entered Vance's voice. You already isolated us. You already crushed our petitions. You mocked us for asking to be treated as equals, and she let the words hang in the air. Then she took a breath. Now you will listen. The projection expanded. Human fleets emerged from darkness across the galaxy, decloaking in perfect synchronization. Non-attack formation, not yet. They simply appeared. Every major trade artery, every strategic choke point, every system the court considered untouchable. Occupied, the corrupted, and the chaos. This is an act of war. Someone shook her head. Oh, no, this is us ending the lie. The Krith magistrate's voice thundered. You are a minor species. You do not have the numbers to challenge. A Vance met his burning eyes. We were never trying to outnumber you. The projection shifted again, showing simulations of human technology bending gravity into weapons, folding space into shields, turning starfire into fuel. We learned early that we could not win by being bigger. So we learned to be smarter, quieter, more patient. Her voice softened. You laughed at us because we did not roar. The court fell silent. We learned that monsters announce themselves. Hunters do not. The Seraphal emissary's wings trembled. You hid your strength while standing before you unguarded. Vance nodded. Because we trusted you not to kill in voice in a court of law. A bitter smile touched your lips. And the other mistake on our part, the Krith magistrate sank back into his throne, the weight of realization crashing down upon him. You are not here to ask for recognition, he said slowly. Vance's answer was simple. Nope. She turned, gesturing toward the vast chamber. We came to show you what you laughed at. The human delegation stepped back from the platform. The projection faded. The false sky returned, but now the constellations looked different, less smaller, less eternal. And the court, for the first time in its ancient existence, understood what it had done. It had humiliated a species that had learned to survive humiliation. It had mocked a people who learned to turn silence into strategy. It had laughed at a predator that did not need to bare its teeth. And across the spiral arms, Earth was a footnote, a dim blue ember clinging the edge of map space. Its broadcast for cataloged under developing cultures. Its technology classified as rudimentary. Its species labeled with a single dismissive term, an alien database as harmless. When alien survey vessels passed through the Salt region, they did not power shields. When traders skimmed past Earth's orbit, they did not alter course. When strategists marked the stars that might one day threaten their dominion, they did not mark Earth at all. Humans were too loud, too emotional, too divided. Their cities glowed like scars on the surface of a fragile world. Their radio waves spilled into space like the cries of infants. Their weapons were loud, efficient, and clumsy by galactic standards. Their ships crawled between planets on plumes of fire. The galaxy saw a species that had barely learned to walk, and so the galaxy stepped over them. Alien observers watched humanity with mild curiosity, the way one might watch a storm form on a distant horizon. Interesting but not damaging, noted humanity's wars. They noted their rivalries. They noted their endless internal conflict. The conclusion was unanimous. Humans would never leave their cradle in strength. What the observers did not note was the pattern beneath the chaos. They did not see how every war taught humans new ways to coordinate. They did not see how every disaster watched for new systems of response. They did not see how every failure became data. They did not understand when the human instinct to adapt and adaptation became instinct itself. While alien empires stagnated beneath the weight of perfection, humanity iterated. While alien fleets were built to last millennia unchanged, human fleets were redesigned every decade. While alien minds sought stability, human minds sought improvement. The galaxy mistook instability for weakness. It did not understand that instability was how humans evolved in speed. The first real test came when a minor alien flotilla passed too close to Earth's trade routes. To them it was nothing. A routine harvesting operation, automated drones siphoning resources from unclaimed asteroids. One human convoy protested. The flotilla commander ignored them. One human escort vessel moved to block the left. The alien commander allows. Human weapons registered as outdated. Shielding was laughable. Human engines were slow. The flotilla fired a warning volley. The human escort did not retreat. Instead, not with speed, but with intent. It cut power to visible 6 to let its shields draw, edges drop, let its whole registers crippled. The alien sensors, 2 ancient standards of warfare, reclassified the ship as neutralized. And then the human ship ignited something the flottille's models did not recognize. A gravity fold compressed in a blade of force, the drone cluster vanished, nipple of warped space. The floater retreated in shock, reporting that human technology had advanced beyond projection by centuries. The report was filed under anomaly and ignored because one incident did not change a galaxy's opinion of a relevant species. When more encounters followed, human ships responded to threats with unpredictable tactics. Human engineers countered alien technologies within months. Human cyber units breached systems thought unbreakable. Every time, the galaxy adjusted its estimates slightly upward, from harmless to nuisance, and from nuisance to regional complication, never to existential threat, as humans were still noisy, still divided. The galaxy failed to understand a fundamental truth. Humanity did not grow linearly, it grew exponentially. Each encounter accelerated their learning, and each dismissal fueled their determination. Each underestimation became a blueprint for improvement. While alien civilizations relied on what had worked for thousands of years, humans threw away what worked yesterday, and in that reckless cycle of destruction and rebuilding, they advanced faster than any species in recorded history. By the time alien sensors finally flagged Earth as a developing power of concern, it was already too late. Humanity's presence in the stars was no longer confined to a handful of colonies. Their networks spanned systems the galaxy believed uncontested. Their fleets moved in patterns too complex for traditional prediction models. Human technology no longer mirrored alien designs. It surpassed them in specific, terrifying ways, not in raw power, in efficiency. Human weapons wasted nothing. Human fleets coordinated like swarms, and human logistics turned scarcity into advantage. The galaxies revised their assess Earth's emerging power, potential long-term threat. The words came centuries too late, because while the galaxy had been updating files and adjusting probabilities, humanity had preparing for a universe that did not take them seriously, and a universe that does not take you seriously is a universe you can outgrow unnoticed. The moment of realization did not come in a war, it came with silence. Alien trade routes began attack. Not from attack, but from competition. Human networks offered faster, cheaper transit. Alien manufacturers lost markets to human engineering. Alien data cores found their security obsolete against human adaptive code. Worlds chose human partnerships over ancient alliances, and not because humans conquered, but because humans built systems that worked. The galaxy did not lose to humanity in battle, it lost to humanity in relevance. The species once cataloged as primitive outpaced civilizations millions of years older, not through domination, through relentless, unglamorous, terrifying improvement. The chamber was built to make lesser species bow. A vast ring of levitans encircled a hollow star, its light bent and broken by gravity fields older than memory. The air itself pressed down, calibrated to weaken nervous systems, to coax spines into curves and knees into submission. And in the center of it all stood one human, in Sci-Fi armor. No guards, no visible weapon. The weight of the chamber settled on her shoulders like an invisible hand meant to push her to the floor. She did not bend. Across from her, the high arbiters of the Dominion observed in cold fascination. Their forms were colossal, woven of bone plating, light and metal. Each of them had crushed civilizations into dust with a word of judgment. The tallest of them spoke. Key kneel, the word struck the chamber like a hammer. Species far greater humanity had at that command. War kings, star queens, entire delegations had lowered themselves to the floor in ritual submission. The human envoy remained standing. The silence that followed was heavier than the gravity fields. The arbiters conferred in low, resonant pulses. Their throne structure shifted, adjusting the chamber's pressure. The gravity increased by degrees too fine to register as pain, designed instead of her own will. Seraphine Holt thickened, her breath grew heavier, the bones in her legs sang with quiet protest. She steadied herself, not with defense, with stillness. Kneel, the arbiter repeated, its voice now layered with command algorithms and neural coercion. Your species stands accused of overreach. You will submit to judgment. Around the chamber, representatives of lesser powers watched with a mix of dread and pity. They had seen this before. They knew how this ended. The human would kneel, and they always did. Seraphine Holt lifted her eyes. No, she said, loud, not dramatic. Just know, the word rippled through the chamber like a fracture spreading through crystal. The arbiters paused. They had no protocol for this. Submission was the foundation of their authority, and it was the first ritual of compliance. Without it, their judgments lost their ceremonial gravity. Their dominance lost its choreography. You misunderstand your position, the arbiter into. You stand in the presence of those who decide the fate of civilizations. A Seraphine Holt inclined her head, not in submission, but in acknowledgement. I understand exactly where I stand. She gestured to the hollow star burning at the chamber's heart. And you built this place to make others feel small. Teach them that survival requires obedience, that existence is a privilege granted by your approval. Her voice remained calm, almost gentle. We did not come here to beg for permission to exist. The gravity increased again. The pressure drove cracks of pain through her muscles. The floor beneath her boots vibrated with the hum of enforced dominance. She did not kneel. Her voices sharpened. Your refusal is noted hostility. Seraphine Holt exhaled slowly. You mistake dignity for hostility. She straightened. Even the chamber strained to force her down. My people knelt before hunger, before extinction, before the vacuum of space itself. We knelt to bury our dead and to plant our future in poisoned soil. Her eyes did not leave the towering forms before her. We do not know anyone who demands that a tremor pass through the chamber, not of power, but of uncertainty. The arbiters were ancient. They had broken empires with threats alone, but they had never encountered a species that refused to perform the ritual that made their authority feel real. You will submit, the arbiter insisted, or you will be judged in defiance. Seraphine Holt nodded. Then judges standing. Now the pressure fields faltered because the arbiters were judged, but because they were killing here. They had expected plea, they had expected the small desperate rituals of survival. Instead, they faced something they had not modeled, a species that did not confuse survival with submit chamber. Other delegates watched in stunned silence. Some straightened unconsciously, some lifted their heads for the first time in cycles. The human voice stood as if the gravity no longer applied to her. Not because it didn't, but because she refused to let it define her posture. The arbiter's silence stretched. Their dominance had relied on the theater of compliance, and the theater had just been disrupted by a single human who would not kneel. Alas, the arbiter said, in voice heavy with recalibrated authority, you will be judged. Seraphine Holt's expression softened. That is your right. A pause. Whether you condemn us or not, she continued, we will return home unchained. She turned her gaze outward, going toward the representatives watching from the shadows. We will still endure. We will still choose our own posture in the universe. The chamber's gravity returned to baseline. The arbiters had not won compliance. They had only proven they could no longer command it. And in that failure, something ancient in the galaxy shifted.